All right, Caitriona, long time no see. First of all,
Yeah.
congratulations. Amazing premiere last night. When you
Thank you.
look at this show and the explosion, the first half of the first season, we see the love triangle begin to evolve. Now the evolution goes into full force. And it's so different to see something like this on TV. Talk to me about bringing this love triangle and the internal battle that Claire has to fight inside to life on television.
Yeah, well, I loved the ability to explore this and to explore relationships because, human emotions are never black and white and there's always gray areas. And I think even if, there's not a timeline overlap in relationships, sometimes in your heart, you're still maybe in one place before you move somewhere else. And it's an interesting thing to look at and to play. But I think with Claire and Frank, that relationship was one that she never really had to question. And I think that she sort of fell in love with Frank as a girl. And this was, even though there was a lot of love there and, it was still a passionate relationship, that it was still she was the girl in the relationship in a sense. So when she meets Jamie, even though there's a lot of guilt involved, there's a lot of apprehension, she realizes that she has this whole other capacity for a deeper type of love, and to come to it as a woman is a very different experience for her. But it's hard. It's not something that she can just click her fingers and say, oh, well, Frank's not here anymore, and here's this hot guy, let's just go for that, So it's nice the way that the writers allowed it to evolve very organically, and she'll still always hold a place for Frank in her heart, I think, so.
In Jamie becoming a man, we're seeing this evolution with him. He's growing up, he's learning about love, he's learning about taking care of a woman. How much of your own personal experience did you have to bring to the character and bringing these layers to life?
Yeah, I think you always try and draw upon your own personal experience. And I think, Jamie going back to his place of his birth, having all these relationships that he's not really dealt with, the situations that he's run away from, his sister, his best friend, and the guilt he feels with his father as well is, it's certainly something I connected with, and it just felt, that every man goes through a point in their life where they're like, I can't just float around anymore. I've really got to measure up and take responsibility for my actions, and it's a wonderful process that James goes through, and he kind of needs to do that because then it's challenged at the end of the season by Blackjack.
You and Caitriona, the chemistry there, so many times I get to speak to people and you can feel that the chemistry isn't there, but you and Caitriona from moment one, meeting you guys, the chemistry has been off the charts. Talk to me about that. What is it that makes what works between you and Caitriona work so well?
She's a nightmare to work with. She's horrendous. She's so fun, and I saw her, we were doing a lot of press today, and we haven't seen each other for a while. She's been off working with some guy called George, and
and Julia.
And Julie something. Yeah, and I've been busy as well, and so I've really missed her, and I think that's the mark of a friendship, and it just feels easy, it feels comfortable, we trust each other, and I can't wait to sort of push this relationship on and see where it goes.
One of the things I love about the show is, although we're looking back in time where females were oppressed, you have Galis and Claire who are rising above. And there's a lot of female empowerment in terms of messaging that comes out of that. Talk to me about that message, because I think seeing a show that is resonating with millions of fans, not only here but around the world, and already had a built-in fan base, to have that message is so strong.
It's a great message we have with Outlander for the female empowerment. It's awesome. It's obviously in a time where the guys are pretty present and pretty strong, and for women it seems a bit tougher. But it's great to work on a show where that is a message that's definitely coming through, and to have such amazing characters the way they're written, and they're not one-dimensional at all. In fact, they're 3 or 4-dimensional if possible. And that's fantastic, and I think the world kind of needs that. I really do, and it's a fantastic inspiration, I suppose, for a lot of women. They can relate to all the things Claire is dealing with, even though it's in a different time and it's stuff that doesn't happen to them in their daily lives. It's about a certain energy, a certain power.
Gary, one of the real fun parts of the show that I love, obviously it centers on Claire's love between Jamie and Frank, but to see your relationship with Graham on the show is just terrific because there's this brotherly battling. It's just this almost contentious rivalry going on. Talk to me about that. You and Graham on the carpet last night, the chemistry is great, but to bring that to the show, talk to me about that.
I gotta say, there's a lot of things I just can't tell you fully. When I say it's a lot of fun, part of what we do is we invent backstories. We invent goings on in Castle Leoch, which aren't in the books and aren't in the script, but they make sense to us. So I'll joke with Graham that maybe his attitude towards women is getting out of hand. He's obviously he's a father of my son, the heir to the clan. He's involved with Gillis. He's involved. He's got a wife of his own. He's all over the place, So we would joke that of an evening, Mrs. Fitz's door was booted in, and Graham Dougal would make a drunken appearance there, and so. We would try to not undermine each other, but have a go sometimes before takes, because, we need each other, but, there's a lot of friction there.
We see the way things were back then, especially in the reverse time travel, the physicality, the real dastardly things that are done both to men and women. Are there ever moments where you say, this might be pushing the boundaries too much, or do you see it as a platform where you can tell the story to its full maximum boundary pushing ability?
I always try to tell the story in full. Diana's given us this great tale. I want to realize that tale, and there's some dark elements, there's some disturbing elements, there's some frank and graphic sexual elements. And in each of those things, you look at it, okay, we're going to do this part of the story. What's the truth in it? Why are we showing it to you? What's the point where I don't want to look at it personally? And what's the point where I feel like, I've cut back too far, now I've cheated it? And you just kind of have to make that call on an ongoing basis. You make it in the editing room, you make it on the stage, you make it with the actors and the writers, and it's a continuing conversation. And ultimately, you have nothing but your own kind of just artistic sense of what's the right call.